Hi, my name is Vincent Rivière. I'm the Managing Director of the Institute for Knowledge and Innovation Southeast Asia at Bangkok University, and I'm part also of the KMGM team working on this ISO 30401 standard. So I'm very pleased today to cover with you the section 4.4.3 of the ISO standard on knowledge conveyance and transformation. So as you can see on this slide, which summarize the different aspects of the standard. So today we will be covering the part which is highlighted in yellow about knowledge conveyance and transformation. Now, what the standard required is to have in place some activities and behaviors for supporting all different types of knowledge flows. And we all know that knowledge management is about getting the knowledge to flow in your organization. And this flow should be done through very systematic activities and behaviors that allow the knowledge management system to reach its objective and in tackling, in using all the main prioritized knowledge domain. So in order to do that, 4 types of activities needs to be in place. Human interaction, which is also called socialization. Some activities and behavior related to representation, also frequently referred as externalization. Some combination. And finally, behind my head, some internalization and learning. So I will go over each of them in detail for you to better understand what they are and what you need to do in order to be able to meet this, this particular criteria. Now, if we look at the way we share and we exchange knowledge, we know that face-to-face interaction are always the best way to transfer our knowledge, particularly if this knowledge is experiential knowledge, or what is often referred also as tacit knowledge. So we know that such kind of face-to-face interaction will be the most efficient way to do that. So that's what is referred in the standard as human interaction, so a direct flow between the knowledge recipient and the knowledge giver, or we can call him or her the subject matter expert or the expert or whatever, right? So that's one of the activities, which is a direct interaction. Now, if this direct interaction and communication and exchange is not possible or is not feasible, then we might have to use what we call an indirect flow. So it means that this knowledge is going to have to be captured to some extent, so externalized or codified. That's what the standard referred as a representation. And once this knowledge, or we could call it also this knowledge artifact, has been created, then it's easy to share it, to diffuse it, to disseminate it on a large scale. And by accumulating such kind of knowledge and recombining it together, we can develop new knowledge. So that's the aspect of combination. And then the last step is, once you have this codified knowledge available to you, then you need to internalize it. So you need to learn from it, so you'll be able to develop your own knowledge. So as we can see, the 4 different processes needs to be in place, from human interaction, which is the best. But if human interaction is not possible, we go for representation, combination, and then internalization and learning. Okay, that's the indirect flow of knowledge. Now let me go over each of them in detail. Human interaction, so also called as socialization. Like I said, that's when people get to exchange knowledge face-to-face. So this exchange can be of both codified and uncodified knowledge, okay? It can be the nature of knowledge can be of different type. And usually it happens through interactions, through meetings, through interaction between the people, formal or informal interaction among people. And for instance, by knowing that someone has worked on a particular project in the past, you might want to reach to him or reach to her and then ask them about more information about what went well, what went wrong, and so on. So this type of interaction helps to share the the uncodified knowledge or the tacit knowledge or the experiential knowledge, right? Now, this can be done for different ways. So if you have a large group of people interested in learning from each other, so we call that usually a communities of practice, a COP, but it can be all kind of collaborative sessions or knowledge sharing, knowledge cafes, or even mentoring or tutoring session where someone will spend some time with an expert who has gained some experience in the field, and by spending time with them, we'll get to learn all these different things that cannot be shared easily or cannot be articulated easily by the expert. So that's what we call human-centered approach, if you want, also, where knowledge is transferred from direct interaction. Now, the second one is called representation, or often called externalization. So here is trying to codify this knowledge, which has not yet been codified, or codified as much as we can from it, since we know that, some knowledge which are of more tacit nature or more experiential nature are sometimes very difficult to be articulated, to be codified. But there is always a part of it that can be codified, or this can be knowledge which has not yet been codified for whatever reason, and then that can be codified. So here the idea is to write down, document this knowledge. This can be done by writing lessons learned, best practices, or after action reviews, but this could also be video recorded, right? Interviews of experts. So any way to capture some of the expertise and experience that were collected. So later on, once it has been externalized, once it has been become tangible, if you want, become a document, then it can be easily shared and transferred whoever might need it, right? If someone has solved a challenge, a solution in one project, and by making this solution available to anyone else who needs some help or who needs to find some solution on this can look for this document and reuse it. Now, the third one is what we call combination. So combination is now that we have a lot of knowledge which has been codified, the idea is how do you combine, how do you merge, how do you somehow group or connect this knowledge together so it can bring value, or it can bring additional value. So this can be all kinds of activities. First, to organize your knowledge by using maybe some classification or taxonomies or tagging, making sure that you have some metadata attached to your document that helps to identify it and retrieve it. And then later on, also making sure that, knowledge which is somehow connected to other knowledge can be retrieved easily, and also can be connected with each other. Now, the fourth and last one is internalization and learning. So here we can see that, well, what is shared, in fact, once the knowledge has been codified, it becomes information. And when this information needs to be absorbed, needs to be converted into a learning, So whoever receives this information can turn it back into knowledge, right? So these are all type of activities that helps to get people to learn, or I mean, at any stage of their activity, which can be learning before doing a task, learning while doing a task, learning after doing a task, or using some simulation to learn, or it could be using now. We know that the metaverse is coming. I mean, learning in the metaverse will take also some new forms, and maybe will be much more immersive, and which allow also to gain more insight from the knowledge which has been documented. So the internalization and learning are all these activities that helps to for the person, I mean, who's looking for a solution, or who's looking to solve a problem or to learn, to be able to learn from different type of activities that will be offered to him or to her to regain this knowledge which was previously codified. Now, just to finish this video, this is a document that was that came from, sorry, I'm in the middle, from BSI 30402, which was recently released. And there are some recommendations, more or less, that summarize. Okay, now you have the 4 phases: human interaction, representation, combination, and internalization. So who should be responsible, for instance, of such kind of activities? So these are just some example, right? It's not like well, if you have a community of practices, then there will be different roles as a community member that member will contribute to, or will be in charge of. In terms of representation, so this could be the project knowledge manager. In terms of combination, so this might be the knowledge domain owners who own this knowledge domain and maintain and curates it in a regular manner. And again, so depending on the type of activity, so this table summarizes who might be accountable for it, responsible for it, what could be some processes that could be used, again, to support each of these 4 dimensions, what potentially some technology could enable such kind of activity. And again, these are just few examples. There are much more that could be done, right? And what is the governance model behind it? So who's in charge of making sure that things are happening as planned, or is overseeing this overall process? Okay. So hopefully this short video gave you a quick and simple overview of what this section 4.4.3 is all about. This may remind you a lot of the SECI model from Nonaka, from Professor Nonaka. SECI stands for socialization and externalization, combination and internalization. So if you are not familiar with the SECI model from Nonaka, you might want to look into it. So there is a lot of inspiration that come from this. But again, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that knowledge flows, and flows from codified to uncodified way, in a continuous way and in a systematic way. And that's what this part of the standard is all about. Thank you for listening, and I enjoy the next videos. Bye-bye. See you soon.